The Renaissance brought about a new spirit of learning, and academies sprung up throughout Europe. In the 15th century, Marsilio Ficino founded one of Italy's most progressive. With the support of his patron, Cosimo Medici, Ficino acquired and translated a collection of documents reputedly authored by a mysterious Egyptian magician named Hermes Trismegistus.
An emissary from the Orthodox Church brought a cache of documents, and Ficino found, I think it was 12 books supposedly written by Hermes. They weren't necessarily all written as one book, but they were gathered together once these translations were made.
The documents, which became known as the Hermeticum, contained teachings from the early Christian era that had been lost for centuries. Their pedigree appeared to be impeccable. The name of their supposed author, the mysterious Hermes Trismegistus, was a combination of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth, the two greatest gods of Greek and Egyptian magic.
There was occultism in there. There were esoteric doctrines. There was alchemy. There was magic. There was astrology. And Ficino and his school considered these documents to be extremely old, predating Plato, in fact, and having come from Egypt.
Scholars would determine that the man Hermes Trismegistus never existed.
What Ficino was translating was a compendium of Greek lore about how an individual could cultivate themselves and become enlightened, raising of a given individual's consciousness until they are like the gods.
The books were set up as a series of dialogues between the god Hermes and others who conveyed the secrets of the universe. One of the documents was a short piece called the Emerald Tablet, which became the Bible of Renaissance occultists.
On this tablet, it was said, these are all legends, that there were 12 or 13 lines, and these lines started with "as above, so below." This was the great idea of the pattern of the universe, the pattern of the stars and the great universe is repeated as well on the earth.
The Hermeticum restated the teaching of the early mystery schools, that human beings possessed a divine nature.
So this is really the goal of Hermetic initiation and any other kind of initiation, would be to transcend our mortality and put us back into our ultimate state as spiritual peers.
The Hermeticum dazzled Renaissance scholars, and occultism was reborn. Could the idea that human beings shared a direct link to God undermine the authority of the Church? The discovery of the Hermeticum during the Renaissance created a new generation of occultists. They sought to combine religion with science and magic, a dangerous undertaking in a society ruled by Christianity. John Dee would risk his life to study its teachings.
John Dee was a giant. John Dee was the embodiment of the ideal of an enlightened being who had the spiritual understanding of his role and mission in life, and who was gifted with, superior intelligence.
But like Pythagoras, he would pay a heavy price for daring to seek out the wisdom of the gods. The ultimate Renaissance man, Dee followed in the footsteps of Paracelsus, using experimentation to become a gifted scientist, an inventor, a mathematician, a brilliant cryptographer, and a pioneer in the field of navigation.
But he was also an occultist, he was a sorcerer, he was an astrologer. He was, in fact, Queen Elizabeth's personal court astrologer. And in that sense, his interests were all very much in keeping with the thinking of the time. There wasn't a distinction made between magic and science, and he was pursuing an understanding of the world around him.
When Queen Elizabeth rose to the throne of England in 1558, she installed Dee as court astrologer, but his influence reached far beyond his position. England's famous magician was also a spy for the Queen.
He was involved with political intrigue. He was a trusted ally of the Queen, but he was also working behind the scenes throughout Europe to helped to lower the power of the church and to substitute Protestant power in its stead.
With Dee's guidance, Queen Elizabeth officially legitimized the most significant occult science of the Renaissance, alchemy. Alchemists had two goals: to heal illness and to turn base metal into gold. They believed success could be achieved by finding the Philosopher's Stone, a mystical agent that would also produce a higher level of consciousness in the alchemist.